Good evening, folks of the Transformers community. Well, at least it is here. This is the one, your only YouTube failure, RedX Power, back with another exciting video review of non-epic proportions. Being as I'm a bit under the weather during the time of this recording, I felt the need to push this review forward to that scarce distribution format on my channel. After all, no one's complaining here, so why not change things up a bit every now and then? Perhaps get some new life rolling on this channel. Maybe. Anyway, if the title hasn't thrown you a pitch already, it is, yes, Firefly! Yet another aerial bot figure from Hasbro's ever-expanding yet disorganized and underrated Transformers sub-series, the Combiner Wars. Taking a look at the packaging as the usual starting point to every review, when possible, we have what could have been a very decent picture of Firefly, had it not been for Hasbro's decision to take a mock-up concept image and expand it another 20x on the card back, revealing every collector's worst nightmare when it comes to superb artwork, pixel lines, and the loss of the focus frame. Besides this, everything else is what you would come to expect with the series of card backs. You have your character's name located at the bottom left, Hasbro's logo on the bottom right, the misaligned generation stamp on the top right corner, and finally the attention-grabbing Transformers logo covered in that glorious bloody red color, hinting that there truly is a war within owning every single one of these fucking figures. Though not our destination yet, there on the side of the summit reveals Firefly's number for Team Superion, and a sneak peek at the Combiner bot himself. We have arrived. At last, looking at the rear of this card is your standard obligatory shot of Firefly's prototype in both robot and jet mode. A very short and debatable bio for the character, and let's not forget your basic schematic of that which is what I like to call the incorrect Combiner formation for Superion. Thank you very much, Dragstrip, but all fingers will continue to be pointed straight at Hasbro's credible packaging designer team for this error. Or is it? Seeing how Hasbro didn't want to release a wave of all-hero combiners, you take for what you can get from this. Vent later, people. Vent later. Outside the packaging, we come to the main attraction of this video. Yes, Firefly! What's that? Not ready to scope out the figure for any flaws just yet? No biggie. Let's take a moment to give credit to some items that may or may not be mentioned a bit later, such as the instructions manual and the thick trading card of Firefly. With those out of the way, we press on to the figure in hand. With Firefly comes a decent amount of paint applications to break up the red monstrosity that is his jet form. Taking a twine at some snowy white and throw in a mix of sky blue, gold, and finish off with a palette of metallic silver truly does help the blandness that could have been a crooked way out for Hasbro's design team. Purposely overlooking the details to this mode as it's already a plus with Hasbro's merchandise anyway. Scope the additional piece that is the front landing gear, yet for reasons already known it's completely lackluster for the back of this plane. How unfortunate. That being said, however, the gear is mentioned thanks to the credibility to which it's called sculpted in detail. Though the wheel does absolutely not a damn thing, the additional landing gear serves its purpose for being the balancing act of Firefly's jet mode when not in use. A fair warning, however, the landing gear piece only clicks into place when properly whacking Firefly's obvious head at the bottom, and if not careful could leave some serious chipping to the nice painted silver apps. It's at your own risk, so go with ease on the poor fella, will ya? Upon this, there's nothing else to really talk about. If I must gripe about one other thing to this upgraded and renamed G1 former, it's the fact that he carries on the Combiner Wars trend of having nowhere to store his additional content in this mode. Yes, I too would have been pointing all blame at Hasbro until I realized that there is not much that could have been accomplished here without sacrificing a little more to this already seemingly tiny combiner. Enough talk. Time to turn the page of this video review as we move on to the figure's next mode. new robot mode in full effect. Look at what just happened here to this tiny combiner. Give up? Well, allow me to assist you with a few pointers. First, check out his colors. Coming straight off of a near naked hunk of red plastic jet mode, Firefly. Alright, it's getting old, I'll stop it. Firefly's robot mode carries the original G1 colors of an avalanche of pure white, taking up what would be about 2/3 of the figure. I know that a lot of collectors would perhaps be turned off by this blandness of color to the robot mode, but in all honesty, Firefly has got to be the brightest character of the bunch, as this white plastic is what I like to call beyond white. It's not all about color here. Firefly's attention to detail is very good in this form, but I will say that additional paint apps should have been used to spruce up some of this beyond white plastic. Though I think that black washing in between panel lines and such could have done anything more than actual good, so I'm glad that Hasbro didn't go that route. As for the additional black vents on his knee guards, it just feels wrong. That this seems to be the only place where this color can be found on the whole figure, so why even bother with this choice at all? Wouldn't had silver done fine just here? Strange. Well, I guess the silver chest piece and blue corners will just have to do when it comes to mode improvements, and really, it's not much of an improvement when comparing it to his jet mode. Articulation points can be found at the following areas, such as Firefly's head, shoulders, beyond shoulders, bicep, elbows, waist, legs, thighs, and knees. It seems to be a carrying on trend for all of Superion's boys when it comes to huge gaps within the lower half of their legs. Seriously, I'm not looking at this as an excuse from Hasbro or perhaps time constraints or just saving the budget. Honestly, it's impossible due to some of the choices within working out the transformation of this toy. Cheer up, Firefly, it's not that bad of a sight. Besides, I've seen worse beforehand. A lot worse. I'll be honest, Hasbro did what they could with this configuration, but a little more time within execution could have spruced up the end results just a little bit more, as I would have hoped. Overall, you get a nice piece to use as an arm for Superion, but the robot's arm sticking out at the top with nowhere to lock in place in this mode is really killing it for me, and makes it feel like a step is missing in the instructions. Beyond this, Firefly's arm mode still retains the balance of articulation that one could expect there to be, and then some. Still, I give Hasbro props for pulling off what they could without sacrifice, but let's move on to the final transformation to what Firefly should always remain as when combined with Team Superion. I've given the boot before to any combiner unit that ends up as the foot for a giant robot, but what are you going to do with this, right? Once again, I give props to Hasbro for what they were doing with what they had, but as I said before, and I'll say it plenty of times in the future, I'm sure of it, there's no praising a foot. After all, it's just a foot. A very nice, somewhat menacing looking foot. Still, we're not painting gold here, people. Overall, some of the choices on not just Firefly, but the entire team that I have reviewed already aren't my cup of tea, and could have been improved with time. But that's why I'm not in charge of production over at Hasbro. But my opinions are just that, my opinions, and should only be taken to a certain degree. Without experiencing this series for yourself, I can already say that you're missing out on one of the greatest collecting experiences that I have had the pleasure to have a part of my Transformers legacy. Plus, I'm really looking forward to what Hasbro will be tossing our way in the line of reveals at Toy Fair this year. I most certainly can't wait, but this story isn't over just yet. Besides, what's the goods about having just the limbs of Team Superion without reviewing the plaque that forms the centerpiece of this aggro crag? Tune in next time as we'll be wrapping up this exciting Combiner series with the Aerial Bot Commander Silverbolt, Piece 3 of 5. The completion of Superion is right around the corner. Hopefully you'll be there to view the experience with me. Till next time, don't forget to hit the like button, share and comment on this video. Feel free to subscribe to this channel to see more videos just like this one from yours truly. And thank you for watching. Returning to you in this video format once more with something out of the norm. And by that, I mean collectible. It's not my department of sorts, but hey, this one seems to get the job done. And I haven't even gotten to opening the story up and messing around with it for flaws and errors. So there you go.